Okay, yep, aim assist, maybe it's a little too strong.
You already know controller settings have been the hottest topic since the new settings options dropped a little over a week ago. At first, everyone was recommending just using legacy settings, but immediately everyone hopped on the exponential hype train once Sway dropped his video on those settings. Not a big surprise there since Sway is an absolute beast on controller. For this video, I wanted to try out the one setting that seemingly no one was bold enough to try out though: linear controller settings. You might have thought linear was a bad option since none of the biggest pros even gave it a real try, but trust me, you're going to want to see my progress through this video. Remember how long it took people to switch from Combat Pro to Builder Pro on controller? These settings could very well be a similar situation where eventually everyone's using linear settings. One whole week of using linear settings, get ready to know a lot more about what linear controls even are. Let's get right into it. I have to start day one by showing you how to turn on linear, and I want to briefly explain the difference. Linear controls take the exact stick movement and ramp up at the same speed whenever you move your thumbsticks in any direction. This gives the game a more snappy feel of being able to flick in any direction. It lets you control your edits and builds much better in my opinion, and it makes the game feel smooth. It pretty much feels like you're building on mouse and keyboard and shooting with a controller. There's no LT or L2 spam with the new ADS settings, but I honestly think the new aim assist is even better and more consistent than the old. You'll see me lasering people all throughout this video. Day one was 100% a testing day for me. With all the turning boosts, ADS boosts, dampening time, and confusing settings, I had to try out all of these in more detail to truly understand what was going on with these, so that way I could put together a good video for you guys and you could actually have a good understanding about what all of these do. Here's the settings I started out using, but don't you dare copy these down just yet. I want to explain day by day what I decided to change and why, so you know what to do for your own settings. These are just the test settings right here. We're going to get later into the video. After trying these out for a bit, I decided to turn off all the ramp times and to up my sensitivity a little bit. Linear settings will feel very fast compared to exponential and legacy, so you can lower your sensitivity just slightly from whatever you used to use on those. This is the change that really made linear feel great to me. I highly recommend you do not have any of those ramp times on. Even the dampening you can turn all the way down to 0, because that makes your movement feel delayed and a little inconsistent in my opinion. That is the biggest takeaway from day one. Even though I missed a decent amount of shots and my aim assist definitely felt way different than legacy, I could tell that linear has a lot of potential. You cannot expect to be really good with it on the first day, so guys, please be patient and you'll see my improvement over the whole week. There's really not too much more new to say about day two. I tried to practice in Zone Wars and creatives with viewers, but I couldn't quite get the feel down for the settings just yet. I kept tweaking my boosts to try to give them to feel alright and couldn't settle on anything that I really liked. Building and editing felt completely fine, but my aim did not feel right at all. Still ended up winning a solo game, but I really was not very confident in my aim. It wasn't until day 3 for me to figure this all out, and I just want you guys to know, throughout this entire process, should you decide to switch to linear, you're going to have days where it's just a down day. Maybe you just don't play that well, something feels off. When switching to new settings or new binds in general, that is something that's completely normal, so just try not to get too discouraged if that's happening to you. I would say day 3 is the day that I figured out the horizontal and vertical boosts the best. If you like to have these for turning really quick in panic situations, I would recommend you turn your sensitivity down as much as you can to where you still feel like you move at a good pace, but then this will allow you to be more precise with your movement. Then you can turn your boost up to make up for the slower sensitivity. I want to be completely honest with you though, I do not recommend using boosts at all. They make movement inconsistent and tough to control. I think you'll all be better off without using the boost, but if you really do like them, turn your sens down and just up your boost. My buddy Anti and I, we still went on a 3-game win streak even with boosts on and stuff, so don't even worry about it. We were dropping 30 plus elims in duo v squads. It's definitely possible to still be good on these settings. On day 4, I just got more practice with my settings from day 3. I streamed for 8 hours on these settings and tried out the boosts even more, and definitely felt a huge improvement from just just playing more with these settings. My friend Clear Solstice and I ran some duos with a good amount of wins in there. This was the day where it was really clear that linear settings are a viable option for controller players going forward. But day 5 might just be the biggest day out of this entire video, so I don't want to spend too much time on day 4. This is where I really learned the best settings to go with linear. Day 5 is the day where I just really discovered how to dominate with these new linear settings. I had already tried out all the boosts and ramp times, but never seemed to find the perfect sensitivity that truly felt right. That was until I turned off all the boosts for ADS and the look sensitivities both. This is the change that made me way better instantly, guys. It might have been a no-brainer to you guys, but I wanted to try out the boost for the video. I finally could control my shotgun hipfire. That was my biggest problem on boost, was that sometimes with hipfire shots, I would flick to the left or right, and it would just go way too fast and past my target and just seemed unpredictable. The boost made those incredibly difficult, but now I had a consistent sensitivity to always use. This also allows you to raise your X and Y a bit from whatever it once was. You need to be around 50% sensitivity to rock linear without boosts, in my opinion. This seems to be about the right sensitivity to control, but also to hit those turnaround shots accurately. As you guys know, in Fortnite, a lot of times somebody can be shooting you from behind, so you gotta whip around very quickly, and so you wanna have a sensitivity where you'll still be able to do that even without the boost on. There's one pretty big drawback to using ADS without boost though, and that is not being able to control your scope sensitivity. I don't really know why Epic Games didn't give us the ability to customize both ADS and scope sensitivity separately like they have forever, but playing squads with the boys went amazing even with these settings, racking up some clips and some pretty easy wins too. Squads seem to be like the only fun game mode in Season 10 right now, but I'm really looking forward to Season 11. What do you guys think about the current state of the game? I think everybody's a little too negative, but Fortnite definitely does not feel as great as it once was. What I really want to show you from day 5 is this final solo I played. Some of these clips look like I have actual aimbot without boost on, and it really shows you the power of these settings. The tracking felt amazing, and there's one thing I really want to talk about with linear that no one really has talked about to my knowledge. Linear has made shooting people, landing on top of you, and gliding so much easier. I always felt inconsistent on the legacy controls at tracking people in the air without L2 spam. This finally gives us a way to track and even shotgun people while they're gliding. At the end of this game, I still had spectators because these people thought I had aimbot. I guarantee you they thought I had aimbot. I know a lot of professional mouse and keyboard players have complained about the new aim assist and they even call it aimbot, but what do you think? I think that sometimes the pros complain a lot, so it's a little tough to tell when something is really an issue or if it's just some kids overreacting to something, but I'm really interested to see what the community thinks here. Day 6 was filled up with me going to the St. Louis Cardinals playoff game versus the Atlanta Braves, so I really didn't have much time to play. If you're a baseball fan, I hope your team is still in the playoffs, but I practiced in creatives for about 15 minutes just to keep the skills fresh for the final day, day 7. The last day just confirmed that these settings were great for me, man. Skill-based matchmaking put me up against a ton of great players, but I still held my own in a lot of these situations. I don't like how I'm a content creator, but skill-based matchmaking has me facing off against a bunch of pros in the game. Like right here, I was actually playing with FaZe Mega's brother that I met at TwitchCon, and we died to Mega's teammate in a duos game. Not dubs, but Eclipse, and I just say this reminded me that no settings can save me from dying to the best in the game. There's just no way I'm gonna survive against some of these pros out here, but the settings still at the end of the day felt great. Overall, here's my thoughts on linear. Better aim assist tracking for targets in general. It's a little tougher than Legacy at extremely long distances, but insanely powerful for up close to medium range tracking. The hipfire is also incredible with linear as well. These two aspects combined together make for shooting people landing on you much easier, which is something I've always felt terrible at on controller. This is an underrated skill in my opinion, especially with all the back grapplers and psychos who just land on your forehead every single game. The new aim assist also does not get too magnetic, so you can do predictive shots around corners and wait for people to peek easier. The old aim assist would drag your aim away from the edge of a wall or a ramp, whatever it was, if you were trying to predict a shot. Another perk of the new aim assist is the ability to choose which target to shoot at. On the legacy aim assist, you might get one player one shot, try to finish them, but they have a teammate and the magnetic effect would draw you to that different player. Linear allows you to choose who to aim at much more freely. I also firmly believe Linear allows for smoother edits and builds with the raw stick input. I've loved the feeling of building even with just a week of practicing and a few days on the boost. Perhaps the biggest key of all this though is the quick and snappy movements allowed by Linear look sensitivity. This is what really makes it feel like you're playing on mouse and keyboard and capable of hitting the flick shots that mouse and key players have always been able to hit. Of course, there are drawbacks with this, and the ones that I've found so far are no aim assist through Windows. I could be wrong about this one, but it feels like I get zero aim assist through Windows. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm right about this though, because Epic really did mess this up way back in the day. It's likely that they just messed this one up on accident as well. There's also no scope sensitivity separate. We talked about that earlier, but it makes it really tough for players who like a low ADS and a high sniping SENS like me. There's no magnetic LT spam either, so RIP to all you L2 spammers out there. Linear is definitely going to feel new to you if you've never played a game with linear stick movement. It will feel completely different from what you're used to in Fortnite, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Remember how few of controller players actually made it to the World Cup? Maybe these snappy movements and changes are what those controller players really need to be able to compete at the highest level with the best of the best mouse and keyboard players in the game. It will definitely take time to get used to, but I think we got this, guys. If you watched the videos this far, comment tourney baby so I know you watched. I'm running a $1,000 tournament this weekend for you guys on Saturday. Join my Discord if you're interested in winning some money and more details. Tune into Rodey Bros on Twitch to watch me live. I've been streaming every day and I play with you guys sometimes as well. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.